Hello everyone, I'm here with the beginning of my second in the Gathandrian Trilogy series. The second book is Hallsfoot's Battle, that's the cover of it, and it's an epic fantasy about one woman's determination to save her world from destruction. Here's the blurb. Hallsfoot's Battle is the second in the Gathandrian fantasy series and is the sequel to The Gifting. Hallsfoot must make an impossible choice in order to save her world. The battle for survival has merely begun, and the mind executioner's defeat is only temporary. Hallsfoot, acting elder of Gathandria, must join forces with Simon the Scribe in a tenuous alliance to fight for their survival. However, Simon is distracted by his own personal demons, giving Anyeka no choice but to plot a desperate strategy to defeat the enemy. When the mind executioner kidnaps Simon and raises an army from the dead, all hope appears to be lost. Both Anyeka and Simon, with the help of the mysterious Mind Cane and the magical Snow Raven, are determined to stay alive, and if possible, to win. That's the blurb. And here, with a bit of luck, is the beginning of Hallsfoot's Battle. Anyeka. The red-haired woman stared round her kitchen area and sighed. The cornflour whitened her hands as she formed the dough for bread on her one good work surface, and the sharp scent of it filled her mind with images of summer days picnicking in the great Gathandrian park and the laughter of children. All very pleasant. But this wasn't how Anyeka Hallsfoot had hoped the day would begin. After the high excitement of the battle and Galan's defeat 2 day cycles ago, she thought the menfolk would be eager to face the task of building a new Gathandria. Their glorious, glittering city now lay in ruins, the bright towers smashed into fragments of glass and stone, the great library and the museums battered and open to the skies, the theatres and galleries gone, and the trees in the parkland stunted and fallen. Even the place of government was not how it had been. Yesterday, when she'd sneaked like an interloper into her former work area, there'd been a few more missing stones from the outside wall, and the gash in the roof stretched far wider. Not only that, but the scribe, through compassion or foolishness, had allowed the mind executioner to escape. Where was he now? In the desert lands? In the kingdom of air? Or hidden deep in the mountains with his murderous dogs? She couldn't tell. But one thing was certain. Galan would surely return to fight them again for the power and land he coveted. They needed to prepare for the battle they would have to face. This was what she thought the menfolk would be planning for. She thought wrong. The elders had vanished, leaving her without any further word and in sole charge of the rebuilding programme and the war preparations. Her overseer in the sub-council of meditation, Johan Montfort, had not spoken more than a few sentences to her since that particular announcement. Worst of all, the lost one, Simon the Scribe, was asleep and useless in her living area. He'd been slumped there for the whole of these 2 day cycles, muttering darkly at her whenever she tried to rouse him. To her mind, this wasn't the action of a man supposedly sent to help them change their world. This was the action of a man in denial. The worst of it was the presence of the Mind Cane in her house. It seemed to be there simply because Simon was, but she didn't think the scribe had any control of it at all. Gods and stars help them. If that was the case, no one else had even a whisper of hope in understanding it. For the last 2 mornings, its strange humming had woken her. When she'd drawn aside the curtain giving the scribe some privacy in her home, she'd seen its dark length with the silver carving on the top, resting near Simon's makeshift bed. It had been vibrating like a wild animal about to attack. Damn it! She wasn't even sure what she meant by that, but it definitely felt like a living thing, not an object. A dangerous one, too. The thought of getting close to it made her shiver. That's the beginning of Hallsfoot's Battle, the second in the Gathandrian Fantasy Trilogy. I hope you enjoyed that read. Have a great day. Bye.